Welcome to WebsiteUpgradeTester.com, the new cloud-based tool that helps you test any upgrade, service pack, or security patch to your website. This is the second part of a two-part video about page actions. In part one of this video, I walked you through using page actions to test interactive content such as menus, tabs, accordions, and carousels. In this video, I'm going to cover creating your own JavaScript-based page actions to mitigate dynamic or randomized content, and how to also use them to tag your content. As you learned in the first video, a page action is the definition of a single, reusable action that can be performed on a page. The tool provides several out-of-the-box actions such as click, hover, set field, etc. But you can also create your own, and that's what we'll do now. Let's set the stage for an example. Here, this page is a sample 404 file not found page from our Canvas demo site. It also plays a video on page load that covers most of the page's real estate. Because the video doesn't start playing exactly at the same time, it causes minor differences to be seen when comparing the before and after screen captures of the page, even though the content is exactly the same. The red line version has highlighted the pixel changes due to the video motion, and if I switch to flicker mode, I can see that motion as the grass blowing in the wind. To mitigate out this content, I could remove the entire video using a dynamic region, but this would leave no content on the page to test. Instead, if I could just stop the video from auto-playing on load, I would be all set. Let's do that now. I'll click the gear icon to open the Site Settings summary page, then I'll click the Page Actions menu. We'll be creating a new page action, so I'll click the blue New Page Action button, which will open a dialog with two tabs. To start, I'll give the page action a name, in this case, Stop Autoplay. The next field is where we'll provide the JavaScript code that will be executed prior to taking the page's screen capture. This code is what will stop the video from autoplaying. I'll come back to it in a second. In order to make our page action a little more generic, I'll code it so that it can take parameters to be tailored for different uses. To do that, I'll click on the Parameters tab, and then on the New Parameters button to specify the details of our first parameter. In our case, let's prompt for the CSS selector that identifies the video on the page. I'll name the parameter Selector, and we'll give it a description. Next, I'll choose from one of the following field types that will control how the parameter values are specified. In our case, I'll just use an input field as I want them to type in the CSS selector name. OK. Next, I'll mark this parameter as being required so that it must be specified and won't give it a default value. That looks good. Let's save this parameter. OK, great. I can see it in the Page Actions table. Let's add one more just for fun. Not that it is needed, but for the demo, let's draw a border around the entire video just so that it is more visible that the page action really ran. I'll create a second parameter specifying the color of that border. OK, I'll name the parameter Color. Give it a description, and in this case, we'll choose a selection list as the field type. Next, I simply specify the colors I want to appear in that list: red, blue, green, yellow. I don't need separate option values for each item in the list, so I'll leave this field empty. And let's specify blue as our default. OK, we'll save it. Now we have our two parameters for this page action. Let's pop back over to the first tab and write our code. First, we want to pause the video, just in case it has started playing. In this case, our demo site uses jQuery, so I can use jQuery to perform my page actions. Remember that this code will be executed within the context of your page. So to reference the video object, I'll use the selector parameter. The Website Upgrade Tester tool will set up a variable named snippet_data, which has a JavaScript object with keys for each of the parameters. The keys are always forced to all lowercase. Then, in order to call the pause method on the video element, I'll need to reference the actual DOM object like this. Next, I'll rewind the video to the start, and then draw our border using the color parameter. I'll make it 3 pixels wide. There we go. Okay, that looks good. Let's test it now by clicking the Test button. This opens a dialog where we'll need to specify which site I want to run the test on, either the pre-upgrade or post-upgrade version of my site, and the server relative URL to the page I want to test. In this case, the example 404 page. I don't need to log in, so I'll leave this as anonymous. And lastly, I'll choose a screen size to test against. Okay, since my page action has parameters, I'm prompted to fill them in, so I'll do so now. For my selector, I'll just use the video tag, so video, and I'll pick the color red. This will only take a few seconds, and I should see the results. There we go. It looks like it is at the start of the video, and I can see the border is red. Great, it worked. I'll save it. And now you can see it in the page actions list. Next, in order to apply this to all pages, I'll create an action set and specify the page action we just created. To do this, I simply click the Action Sets menu option and then click the New Action Set button. In the resulting dialog, I'll give it a name and description. I'll click the Apply to All Pages checkbox, and then we'll click the Save and Define Actions button. Here, I'll need to define one or more page actions that will make up this action set. In our case, I only need one action, which I'll create now. I'll click the Add Page Action button, and then we'll specify our Stop Autoplay action. Let's give it 300 milliseconds of delay, or roughly a third of a second. We don't need to take a screen capture here because one will automatically be taken at the end after all page actions and dynamic regions execute. Next, you can see our 2 parameters. I'll use the same selector, but this time I'll choose yellow. Okay, let's save it. Yep, I now see it in the action set list, and it is set to be run on all pages. Next, let's see if this action set corrects the differences we saw when the comparison ran against the before and after versions of the page. I'll navigate to the Comparison Runs page, click to see the differences, and will filter on the 404 page title. There we go. I can see the 3 screen size captures for our page. I'll select all, and will choose the Rerun Selected option from the More Options menu. Since I need the screenshot captures to be retaken for both the baseline and comparison captures and then recompared, I'll check all 3 boxes. Okay, this will take a few seconds as it reruns the page 3 times, once for each different screen size. Okay, it's done. You can see in the screenshot comparison column that there are now no differences. All 3 screen size captures are now the same. Since we are filtering on differences, they no longer appear in the listing. Let's clear the filter so we can see them. There they are. And if we look at the captures, we can see that the yellow border was drawn around the entire video element. That's pretty cool. I've successfully mitigated out the dynamic content. There is one more thing that I want to show you about page actions. Not only can you create your own page action that reacts to parameters to mitigate dynamic content, you can also detect certain things about your page as part of processing it and use that information to tag, exclude, or mark a page as being from a specific template. Let me give you an example. Say that your site has a subset of content that is restricted to members and that they must log in first before they can see it. But let's say you don't remember all the pages that force the user to log in. You can use the tool to identify these. Here, I've filtered my run, and I can see 3 pages showing all 3 screen size captures. I know these pages require login because they are in the Members Only section of my site. If I view the live version of one of the pages while not being logged in, I can see it renders a large message in the hero banner stating, "Sorry, access denied. This section is only open to members." It also shows Login and Become a Member buttons below. If I exit this and look at the screen captures I've done for these pages, I see the same thing. All pages show the same message. So in order to detect these pages that require login, let's create a page action that searches for that message, and if it finds it, tags the page as access denied. Make sense? Let's do it. First, I'll need to create the access denied tag. That's easy, just click the Site Settings icon and then the Tags menu. Here we click the New Tag button and create our tag. No description is necessary. There we go, we have our tag. Next, we'll go back and create a page action that does the detection. We'll name this page action Detect Access Denied. Since the site always displays the same page when the user is not logged in, I don't need to make my script generic to handle different variations. As such, I'll skip having parameters. To apply our Access Denied tag to the page, I'll write some JavaScript code. Here we go. This code basically hardcodes getting the text from the page's H1 tag, and if it matches the phrase we expect. Sorry, access denied. This section is only open to members. Then it will call the out-of-the-box function upgradeTesterApply tag to set the access denied tag. Otherwise, it does nothing. Currently, there are 3 out-of-the-box functions. We have made it handy to see the specification for these 3 functions, along with examples of accessing the parameters values by clicking this link under the JavaScript code text area. Here are the 3 functions. The first, to apply a tag to the current page. The second, to set the page's exclude state. And lastly, a function to set the page's template. Okay, great. Let's save this page action. Now, just like before, I will need to create an action set and apply it to all pages so that the detection code will run. I'll do that quickly now. Here, I'll pick the Detect Access Denied page action and give it some time to load. I'll skip testing this one. Let's save it and go rerun some pages to see if the detection worked. I'll go back to the baseline runs page and will click the first number to see all pages in my run. Next, let's filter down a bit so we don't have to rerun but a few pages to see if it worked. Okay, I'll choose a couple of these pages. I know the last one listed here requires a login and the first one probably not. Let's run them now by choosing the Rerun Selected option. Okay, it's done. I can see that it worked. This members only page and each of its screen size captures are correctly tagged as access denied, and the other page is also correctly not tagged. I hope this example makes sense. This is a technique that you can use when you perform your initial combined run for discovering dynamic content. That's it for this video. I hope you learned how to create and use JavaScript-based page actions to mitigate certain types of dynamic content, and how to tag, exclude, or associate a page with a template. Be sure to watch our other instructional videos on website upgradetester.com. Oh, and if you thought this video was helpful, please like it or share it with others. And if you have comments, please enter them on our YouTube channel. We will try to reply there promptly.